So did you have packets that you wanted to give out to everybody?
Yeah. Or if you have any
wanna
questions, we'll hang around.
We want to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to connect, and that's really what this next section is about. But first, did everybody put their business cards in here? Brian, you want to come up and draw for us, please? And everybody has a parking pass. Just asking again, you didn't crinkle it. You need one. Well, there's a step there or something.
Kevin, can we get a parking pass? Oh, you got one? We're good?
Yep, we're good. That should be yellow.
Should be yellow.
Yellow. All right, so Heather Mann. All right, so you get our first gift card, a $50 gift card with Amazon. Thanks for joining us today. Yep. All right, so this next section is really going into further questions. We want the discussions to take place in this room while we have all of the great minds and out-of-the-box thinkers sitting around, right? We have the experts in the room who can answer the hard questions. And I want to point out that we have lenders in the area, and we have private investors. We have, of course, our builders. We have many municipalities that are sitting here. We have land bank representation. When we looked at doing this project, we just wanted to make sure we were going to address all of the potential issues that are going to come up, because it's great to say we have a plan. Now, how do we implement it? And so that's really what this conversation needs to be about, is how do we make it happen? And if you're a municipality and you want to have a question to perhaps a lender or to the land bank, this is really the open room round table discussion. So we're one big round table. And if I'm going to have you raise your hand if you have a question or a comment, and we're going to bring the microphone so we can catch this on the video. And the idea is that we'll be able to have a replay of this, so that if you missed anything, the slides we're going to have as a handout to you. We'll send in PDF form. So if you didn't snapshots of it or you missed something and you want to get it, we're going to make sure you have all of that information. I'm also going to put together a directory of everyone who's in the room, because it's important for us to maybe say, oh, well, somebody was there. Who was that? This way it will register and maybe help make those connections further. And then, of course, your Orla team, we're the ones who put this together. It's our opportunity to kick it off in our hometown. Brian and I are both from this area. And then hopefully we get to span out across the state, which is why this is really an important thing. So we're going to open up. If you don't have any immediate questions, then I've got the 2 prompting questions on the sheet. But is there any burning questions that you've just been dying to ask, and we'll get to you. And it's radio silence. All right. Go ahead, sir. Say your name, please.
Or Myose, I'm with Habitat for Humanity of Greater Dayton. So as an infill builder, some of the challenges or things that we run into that could be addressed in a forum like this, when you build on infill lots, there's always the question, you know, what's in the ground? And then what's really out there as far as utilities go? Is a tap good, or, you know, water taps, sewer taps? And so, you know, what I heard the presentation regarding the commercial properties. I think it was Julie where she was talking about we have these guaranteed sites for commercial properties, but is there a way the city can do something similar and just say this is what it's going to take, and we know we did the demolitions correctly, this is probably what you're going to encounter, or maybe even sewer and water taps, you know, can we guarantee the taps or the, you know, are there and accessible? So.
Great question. Absolutely. I know we have some City of Dayton people here. Anybody?
Same table.
Did you already have this conversation and you just left us out, right?
Sure, Norm. We'll do that. I got you, buddy. Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea. You don't know, right? There's so much uncertainty with these infill lots, and certainly something we'd like to look into. The city actually, you know, doesn't own as many infill lots as a lot of people think. A lot of times they're some dude in Sacramento or something, or they're not alive anymore. So that there's a whole acquisition issue there, and guarantees would be very hard. But for the city-owned lots, I think it's something we could look into.
Awesome, great idea. Back over here.
Thank you very much. Lance Oaks with the Dayton Home Builders Association and Oak Street Development. Not to pick on the city of Dayton, I'll stick there though. But this question really pertains to any municipality that has infill lots. City of Dayton currently, I think, has 6,000 developed lots ready to be built on. And good locations. I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. My question stems for the municipalities, kind of along the lines of what he was saying with, hidden costs with infrastructure and all of that. But let's say from the private sector standpoint, you go in there and you build a house at 275, 300,000, which there's a market in a lot of those neighborhoods. You sell it, but then, there's the silent killer of the appraisal. How do you backstop appraisals to make sure that the private sector wants to go in there and not get their legs cut out from under them if that appraisal comes back at 250 or 220? For the programs like that we were talking about, the Sunshine and the community programs, those are important to keep the price affordable for, the market that needs it. But that's not helping bring the price points of the neighborhood and the other property values up, which is what a lot of the municipalities would like to see.
Sure.
So the kind of a broken record for the people who have heard me before, backstopping of appraisals. How do you, and you don't need to do it for 100. You just need to do it for, a half a dozen or a few in most neighborhoods to give the appraisers comps to pull from.
Right.
So.
And that's the reason why you get a lot of that NIMBYism pushback. People don't want it coming into their neighborhood because it's going to raise their property taxes if the value of the area has gone up. So we have to weigh all of these conditions and circumstances when we're going to come in and approach that aspect. We don't have an appraiser in the room, but as realtors, we'll certainly have conversations and see how do we address that if we're looking at doing the infill side.
So I can't just give a problem. I'll have to give the solution too.
Okay,
now,
great.
if the municipalities can figure it out. But me as a developer, it makes sense to me that they would be able to set funds aside to, help facilitate those first couple in certain pockets of the neighborhood, rather than just giving me as a developer, let's say, $2 million in the hopes that a project is going to go well. This is proven. And municipalities, I still want you to give the $2 million, but let's set a few dollars aside for those infills on appraisals as well.
Okay, thank you. Other questions? Okay, so our municipalities that we have, obviously we have the city of Dayton, we have Harrison Township, we have city of Troy. Carlisle, are you in the room? Carlisle, you were supposed to be here?
The city's here.
Awesome, great to have you. City of Xenia. Okay, we had some people that maybe didn't make it, so this is why it's really important for us to make sure that we're getting as much of this information recorded so that we can put it out there. Again, as our realtor group, we've had some conversations independently with some of our communities and just wanting to start this process. How do we have the discussions? We don't want to lose sight, and I would love to beat the other community in our state who thinks they're going to build first, because I think we have a great opportunity with a lot of resources here ready for that. Some of the things that I have heard, obviously having discussions with each of you as I was inviting you, we were getting on the discussion of how we were going to do this, is regarding land bank. And when the land bank is involved, how does that parlay over to an individual who wants to buy the home? Which is why I invited lenders here, because the lenders have stipulations that they need to make sure are going to be met when it comes to how the deed is recorded, so that that can happen and the person can get financing. So many of us are so used to seeing our one lane, right? And we think of what all we have to handle, but when we try to do a project similar to this, it's going to be all of the different lanes that have to come together. And so we need to understand, what are the hurdles? What do you see as the obstacle, and how can we address it, or at least start the process to maybe come up with some of those answers? So that's the conversation we want to have now. Any of our municipalities, what are your obstacles in your community specifically that you're trying to address that this could be a potential for? Oh, don't make me just call on you. Austin?
Hold on, hold on.
I'll just call on you, you know.
Mic check, 1, 2. All right. I think our problem is NIMBYism, right? We have the developers, we have the spots for them, we have them called out on our future land use. But if we do not have the neighborhood buy-in that'll kill a project, that's our real challenge.
And so this is one of the avenues, the platform that local realtors can help with, because we can help with that grassroots advocacy. If we know that there's interest there, Veronica, is that the best way you've seen happen in other communities?
Absolutely. So, in other communities all across the state. I preface this conversation with, a lot of people think realtors just they just sell homes, right? They just sell commercial properties. That is every single conversation I have across the state, and folks sit there and say, well, no, our realtor members, they're the boots on the ground. They know the community because they have to pull the comps. They have to pull all the information. So they're really your grassroots effort. If you are not utilizing your realtors in your neighborhood, like, shame on you. You gotta really focus that effort on that, because I will tell you that they are the ones that know the community in and out, because they've pulled the numbers, they've talked to the neighbors, they've went out and found the random LLC that owns vacant lot 22. So they're really doing all the work for you. It's just a matter of having those conversations. So I really highly encourage you to engage your local realtor members and engage the local associations, because that's the other thing that a lot of folks look at me and they're like, I didn't know we had a realtor association in Dayton. And I'm like, yeah, we've got 31 all across the state. They cover all different territories. I will tell you, Dayton has a big presence here. Cincinnati has a presence as well. We have, Clinton County, Springfield, Southern Ohio, and Midwestern Ohio. So that's just in your hour radius from Dayton. So I highly encourage you to reach out, and we're more than happy to set up those meetings. We're more than happy to be there with you.
And we're not just selling houses and doing all of this. We also live in our communities. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I'm a native to Dayton, Ohio, and that's been one of my pet projects, is to make sure that we're doing things in that area. And we can't do it all on our own, so we have to make those connections, which our connections last, if we're doing our job right, last over the years. And that's why a factory tour 3 years later comes into play in a conversation in 2025. So we're not likely to forget when we've put a connection out there with someone, and we were wanting to make sure that our communities are successful, that they're enjoying what growth potential is there. To this, there's so many other conversations that can come from this. Infill housing is the start. And if we can accomplish something in our communities with that, then we can take it to the next level and address workforce housing and other aspects of this. Let's see if any of our lenders would like to say anything. Drew or Greg, you can introduce yourself and tell us something about how and what you see here.
I'm Greg Elmore with First Financial Bank. I guess from a lender perspective, I think Lance was talking about the appraisal issue. That's also something that we would have to solve for as well. Land Bank is a tremendous entity. Depending on the program, there's some specific deed restrictions that do hurt us from a lending perspective. The Ohio one that's out currently has basically that if for some reason we had to foreclose, we are limited to who we could resell the property to, which eliminates you from a lot of the programs like Freddie, Fannie, FHA. So probably unintended consequences, but there are some things that do affect the lender and give us less choices, I guess, to be able to lend on those properties.
Thank you.
I'm Drew Huggins with Cross Country Mortgage. I don't have that much to add beyond the appraisal. That is a concern, and I've had conversations through the years of that when they were doing the tornado-proof houses up in Trotwood. I know that I was brought in to ask some questions about that too, and that came up. So that's going to continue to be a problem. I think the modular, thanks for including the modular in this too, because with Unibuilt and doing something that's going to bring those costs down should certainly help that quite a bit. and it has been a struggle. I mean, getting the cities to actually come up and present, which I put on mine, to say how far have we made it in planning this might be helpful as well, as opposed to this is some great plans. Now, what are we doing it in our community? I think would be my only add.
Right. Thank you very much. Arthur, did you have a question? See, I watch for hands when I see them, so. Answered it. Arthur is from our Harrison Township area, and so that's.
Arthur's from Tip City.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tip City.
This is Harrison Township right here.
There you are.
Georgianne Godsey
Georgianne.
from Harrison Township.
Thank you.
And just kind of an endorsement that over the last many, many years, we have worked with the land bank and Habitat and done a lot of infill housing in the Fort McKinley area, approximately 40 homes, variety from 2-story homes to 800 square foot smaller homes. And there was NIMBYism over the 2-story homes. It was like, why are you bringing this expensive home in here when everybody else has an 800 square foot home?
Right.
But gradually, I think through the fact that they were well maintained, they were they started out as rental. They had the option to buy them at any point, and I think it's really worked well to stabilize that community and move forward with it. And so I'm looking forward. This gives me other ideas for other parts of the community.
Awesome, great, thank you. And I think that's an important thing. We often want to tag the affordable housing into this discussion, and it's not necessarily about affordability, but about attainability. So the timeline on getting housing, you know, if it is a project that's going to take a year and a half, and then you start construction, and then it's maybe another 6 months before a house is completed, you're 2 years in the making, which is why we are in the situation where we are. We didn't keep up with it. We had COVID. We had loss of homes in our area pre-COVID. And so all of those dynamics have just fed our area into saying we need housing. How can we address it, and how can we work with our different municipalities to streamline that process? And that's really what this booklet, I think, represents for our communities, is to say there is a way to make it happen and come together. And those conversations hopefully will continue after. And yes, another question?
No, not so much a question. I just wanted to provide, well, one, encouragement. We're very happy to be receiving these free plans. It's really nice. Ellen Sizer of our planning division here at the City of Dayton, and I'm Kirsten French. I'm the zoning administrator. She has been really great. I'd say a challenge at the City of Dayton is that we are very large. I mean, you go to a small city and you can get 3 people in a room and kind of figure all this out. You got your tap fee person, you got your economic development, and you have the person who knows where all the lots are in the city. In Dayton, you got to thread the needle through a lot more departments. I think that this has been a really helpful tool to doing that, to having some impetus for doing that. We got around the table. And then the question is, what's the material list? Can we tell somebody who comes to our counter, first we're going to pre-approve the plans, and then can we tell them how much it costs to build it and which lots are available for that? And, are there soils tests available, and do we have our taps already? Are you going to have to pay those tap fees again or not? We don't know. So we're trying to get an end-to-end process for this because we have so many lots to build on. I think some challenge for us remains that we don't have a very strong web presence. I get a lot of questions from individuals who want to build homes, and they don't know how to put the pieces together themselves to do that. And certainly that's a great way to build equity in your community and, through your own self-led project. And we don't necessarily have like trusted builders who do infill houses that you can have a list of 20 where you just go contact that person and they can help you do that.
Right.
But yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, we are going to work on putting some of these lists together of the people that want to make the connections happen. Builders obviously are an important piece to that, developers in the area. And so if you have people that you've worked with and they don't know anything about it, we're happy to go and talk or share the links and give them all the information and kind of help you make those connections as well. Anybody else have any questions, comments? I'm between you and the food at this point, which I believe they're setting
Lunch
up.
is going to be out in 10 minutes.
Okay.
So
we have 10 minutes of questions. That's
Correct.
what you just said.
Right.
All right. You have a survey on your table for giving us some feedback for today, so you can take an opportunity to also complete that, and we want to pick that up, and that's going to be for our last drawing for the gift certificate. So please, before you leave, make sure we have that. But before you leave, we're going to collect them so that we can give away the gift card. They're filling them out. You want to come up and any parting words? You want to sing a song?
Hello, everyone. You thought you could get rid of me, but you can't. I'm so sorry. The one thing I did forget to mention is that we have been very, very busy working on the state budget. As many of you know and are aware, it has been very, very busy at the State House this last month. So, but I did want to give you one final parting piece of things to think about for your community. In the state budget, we were able to allocate $10 million to communities to help adopt any sort of pre-approved program. So if you want to do any sort of anything like that, it will live in development. To my knowledge, that has not changed. As of today, on July 15th, I'm putting this all on the record, but $10 million for all the communities across Ohio to implement some sort of pre-approved program or even develop their own patterns for a pattern book. So we were super excited and super happy about that. We worked with a lot of different legislators across the state. They're very happy to provide these resources for local communities. So if you do have questions, I'm more than happy to chat with you in the back, but I think that's a win for everybody. So there's going to be an application format similar to all the other government-run programs, and it's going to live on Development's website. Again, to my knowledge, that is where it, as of July 15th, that is where it's living. But you never know what's going to happen in the next 3 months, so it may live somewhere else. So